and welcome to another powerful episode of the No Limits Life podcast, where we go way beyond surface level motivation and dive into real transformation. I'm your host, Nordine Zouareg, and I'm grateful you're joining us today. As always, we begin with a quote from today's No Limits Life 60 Seconds Daily Boost. Today, replace doubt with confidence, anger with compassion, and regret with gratitude. Transform your day by shifting your focus. And that couldn't be more fitting for today's guest, Elena Lopez. She's an incredible woman. And Elena, I want you to give us how you relate to the wisdom of this quote.
In a number of ways, actually, because I am a single parent and I did have to replace anger with compassion. I had to practice gratitude for all of the hardships that I had to experience and my family had to experience. So there's more than one way that I resonate with the quote.
Absolutely. Yes. And Ken, you know Elena more than I do. Can you tell us how incredible Elena is?
Actually, I'm trying to think when I first met Elena. Well, she works for Scott Lehman with Premier Auto, so I remember meeting her. I think the first time I met her, it was at one of the car dealerships that was in South Tucson, and I realized, because we were really going after the Hispanic market, and I realized Elena really knows Spanish.
Yes.
And so I understand it better than I speak it, but I really loved hearing her talk to people in Spanish, which I thought was really cool. But what I want to do is I just want to give everyone kind of an introduction to Elena, her story. She's a Tucson native. She has two great teenage kids, which I'm sure she's going to want to brag to you about. She's a first-generation Mexican-American. She graduated from Amphi High right here in Tucson, Arizona. She's executive assistant with Scott Lehman with Premier Auto, who has a very successful car dealership, and I believe he also has a very successful auto repair business, and he's kind of all over the board, a lot of different businesses that he's involved in. She's raised her kids all by herself as a single mom. So I got a question for you. Being a single mom, what's it like being a single mom?
I think everybody's perspective is going to be different, but mine, I'll say it's incredibly challenging. I use the analogy with my kids that it takes 12 cylinders to raise a child. And when you're down to one parent, you kind of have to pick and choose the most important cylinders to fire off because you don't have the capacity for 12.
So what's the most important cylinders? What do you like? What's the most important thing that you do to raise them?
I think their morals and values. I think how they carry themselves, focusing on repairing who they are with the tools that they have available to them, whether it's through nutrition and health and fitness, spiritually, mentally. You know, these poor kids, they don't realize how hard I am on them for name a reason, but they don't realize that it's to show them how to treat people better. It's to show them, oh, you know, I'm falling off the reservation here. I got to pick myself back up. And they know how to do these things now. You know, they know how I have been feeling a little anxious. I think I've been having a lot of sugars. I've been surrounding myself around the wrong people. I haven't been reading the books. And, you know, at 18 and 19 years old, they're grasping this idea without really needing my influence or that of anybody else, which is really what I wanted to do. Being, you know, Navajo Mexican kids, they really do have the odds stacked against them. And what I wanted them to see is perception can be reality, and they could foresee themselves as being the victims of their circumstances. But that's not my house.
And perception is reality.
Correct.
You know, but tell us, before this resilience that your kids have and the tools that they have, someone had to give them those tools, and that's you. So tell us about you and how you have to build this incredible amount of courage, resilience, and energy in order to tackle your kids. And let's not forget, you have also your own life to deal with, work and all of the other things. So how do you create that harmony between that emotional, mental, and physical and spiritual aspects of your life? Tell us more about that.
I think above anything else is leading by example. So, you know, I can pick and choose how difficult and the complexities are of everything. But if I just focus on, I have to lead by example because there's at minimum two people that are watching how I respond to situations. Whether it's the work environment, raising the standard, I raise the standard. You know, I've done the bell ringing job. Like I've stood outside of Macy's ringing the bell, asking for donations for $5.15 an hour. I've painted walls, I've scraped ceilings, and now I'm blessed to have a job that is more of a career that allowed me to raise the kids. So throughout my entire life doing these things with the kids, I've always remembered and had at heart, they're watching me. And there's going to be a time where they may be struggling more than I am right now. And the challenges were hard. They've never been easy. You know, I've lost almost 100 pounds, and that's the other thing that Ken and I met.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Awesome.
And then
That's really great.
You're saying this point is incredibly important for all of us, listeners, and all of us. When you talk about challenge, and you mention incredibly hard, you know, us men, we don't have the same capacity as a mother has. When you say challenging and hard, trust me, you guys have something else within you. You're equipped with something else. And that's something we men, fathers, because I'm a father, don't have. I see with the mothers of my own kids and how they have to create this, you know, incredible amount of courage and resilience. But far beyond that, there's something that I can't even pinpoint, and there's no words for it, that makes it almost effortless to be a mother. I always say, you don't do mother. You are being a mother. You are being a mother. You're mothering, not doing. Because trust me, if you were doing the mothering, you wouldn't be doing it as well.
Yeah.
And that's so as a mother and as a woman, I'd like you to sort of describe that thing inside of you that allows you to wake up every single morning and go the whole day, do all these things, and then go to bed, have a few hours of sleep, and then wake up again and do it again over and over for years. I want the listeners to know how it feels. I know that there's lots of mothers that are listening and know exactly what I'm talking about, but us men, we don't know. We don't feel that. You know, and you see when more often than not, when people divorce or separate, the man, you know, forgive me, all fathers out there, don't have the same capacity as a mother to raise those children. So can you please tell us how it feels?
It's different every day. Some days it's hard, you know, and I will vulnerably admit that there are days that I cry, and it's hard to get up, and it's hard to, I got to go do the same thing again. I have to go, you know, work out. I have to go to work. I have to show my best face. I have to show my best face to my kids.
And I think far beyond that, Elena, when you say I have to, I am sure that little thing in there changes the have to into get to.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what gives you the energy and that power to do that. My mom raised 13 children. I have 9 sisters and 3 brothers. And trust me, my mom is my hero. And I cannot, till the day today, and even with the mothers of my own children, I can't pinpoint it. I can't feel that energy. I can't, it's impossible. So this is why I want you to share that with us. But I think that when you mention, you know, sometimes I cry, sometimes, all of these things are all tied up together. You know, crying allows you to let go, right? And move forward and do what needs to be done. Far beyond that, be who you need to be for your children so they can become incredible people, you know? And so, listen, I commend you, and you guys are heroes. You know, mothers are everything. You're the cradle of humanity. Ken, if you have any question to...
You know, I did have a question because I know you've had a lot of struggles. And I guess one of the questions would be, have you ever had money struggles?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, this coming April in 2016, and I've shared this story before, it's my kind of landmark story. And I'm more comfortable sharing now because I've overcome those obstacles. But I was behind on my rent, like beyond behind on my rent, to the point where the landlord did not evict me by God's grace because I was probably 3 months behind. I was on the verge of having my electricity disconnected. No, like the same thing with the gas, same thing with the water. Just these things were piling up. I did not have like the financial support. At the time, I was probably making $12 an hour.
Wow.
trying to stretch everything while still being there for the kids, understanding everybody around me is like, your kids need therapy. I know they need therapy. I also need to work. I also need to make time to call the electric company. I need to figure out how I'm going to coupon so that I can bring in the things to the house that I need while trying to make more money so that I can pay these. So that was my mind then. You talk about hard and difficult. It's like there are tactical things that I need to address to be able to even allow these kids to survive. Never mind therapy. Fast forward, and I prayed. That was the first time that I ugly prayed.
What's ugly pray?
I call it an ugly pray because I crumbled. I crumbled to my bedroom floor. My face was a wreck. I didn't have words. I didn't have thoughts. I didn't even know what to pray for.
I can feel that sadness in you and that passion also, because trust me, passion for your children is what got you back up.
Yep.
Listen, I know what you're talking about. I feel that because we grew up dirt poor, and my father was working hard, and my mom was working harder raising us, and living in a country where we all were doing our best to survive. That's what we were doing, survive.
Survive.
But then if you ask me, would you do it again? And I would say yes. Because at the same time, we had fun together. We had fun in building what we built. And that's true with you too, because you built something else. So tell us from there, where did you go? How did you just go to that top, and create this world for you and your children?
Well, I think the epiphany happened when I was on the floor crying and I didn't know what to ask God for. And my prayer, and I'll remember it forever, is let me be a mom. Help me be a mom. I don't know what that means other than working and fighting with electric companies or fighting with whoever, And then fast forward to August of 2016, this happened in April. August 2016, I started working for Scott. I actually had 3 job opportunities at the time. And the one that I had with Scott, he had asked me, have you ever worked in a car business? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? My responses to the majority of his questions were I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I don't know, but I'll learn it.
Out of all these people, because I know there's a lot of people he had to choose from, why did he choose you?
I honestly think it was one question specifically. He asked me what it would take for me to leave a job. And I said, trust, number one, an absence of trust. And the second thing is don't shake my ground. I said, I'm a single mom. So as long as there's opportunity for growth, I'm not going anywhere.
So don't shake my ground means
don't
what?
Shake my ground.
What does that mean?
Stability. I need the stability. I had so much instability in my life that I didn't need it in the one thing that was going to allow me to provide for my kids. In exchange, I didn't tell him this, but I knew I was going to prove myself. I was going to prove my work ethic. I was going to prove that I'm willing to learn whatever it takes. I've learned how to do handyman work. So why can't I learn how to, build what he needs me to build, talk to people how he needs me to talk to them. So over the years, I've held different positions within his company, whatever it is that he's needed me to be, whether it's managing his people or making his people feel comfortable or whatever it is. It
seems like you're really good managing his time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You keep him going, this is where you got to be, because he's very busy.
Yes.
He's got a lot of stuff going on, and you're really good at coordinating everything.
That and being a sounding board to himself and anybody else that he's had in key roles. He's had an executive board at the time, in previous years that they've counted on me for, let's talk to Elena about it to see what her observations are and things, which to me is very humbling, given that they're very professional people that have had degrees, that have done big things in their lives, and they honor my opinion on things. So to me, that was very gratifying in a way, because it let me know that a lot of my life experiences did give me knowledge that I wasn't giving credit to. I wasn't elevating it to that level of importance that they perceived it was.
Yeah, and that's the wisdom that you created along the way. So for the mothers out there that are in the position you were and not knowing how to be in that difficulty, what are the tools that you can share with them so they can use on a daily basis and get back up?
I'd say be tactful. Find the 5 things, 6 things, pick a number. If 1 is the first one, the only thing that you have the capacity for today that's going to propel your life forward tomorrow, then get that one thing done. If you have the capacity for 5, then do 5. But you'll slowly see that incrementally you can add 1 and more and more.
It's that 20% that solves the 80%.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. So if you can do 2 things better today than you did yesterday, you're already ahead of yesterday. And that's what I had to do. It's like, okay, well, I handled this one thing yesterday and it becomes routine. Now it's not one of my things. It's, one of my routine habits. Yeah. And as long as you keep stacking those things, it's going to come together.
Yeah. And I think also, I talk about self-worth in my book, Inner Fitness. And that's valid for mothers. You forget who you are because you get hammered. Every single day you get buried with challenges and difficulties and problems and you feel like you alone against the world. And when you start remembering that you are far more than that, you have self-worth. That means you are unique. No one can take away your self-worth. People can tell you look great, you're strong, whatever. That's self-esteem. You can boost that up or down at any moment, anytime. Anyone can do that. But self-worth is you are unique. You have breath, you have life. You can do whatever you want. And for mothers, you're far greater than you think because you have the ability to co-create and put life on earth. That's when you start thinking about it. When you go through issues and challenges and you don't want to get out of bed, remember that you are powerful beyond imagination. Would you think that's true?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Just get up and do it. And, remember that there are 2 people or, however many children this mom has. Remember that you're influencing them, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and who you are is ultimately going to be who they are. So find the best version of yourself. We all have it. There's not a single person that doesn't have, this is the best version of me. Track that sucker out every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were mentioning your credibility in terms of other people listening to you who have degrees and all that, my mom was 15 years old when she gave birth to me.
Oh.
And it was in the back of a French army truck in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Were you the first child?
Wow.
Yes.
You're the first child, okay.
Illiterate, okay, never went to school. Both parents were from North Africa, from the Berber tribe. And I was born and later on was diagnosed with rickets. And so my parents, with the guidance of my mom was the power behind all that. She managed to convince the tribe to give my parents money so they could go to France to seek medical attention for me. So they went to France, and I was put in a hospital for over 2 years, a sanitarium, where they didn't see me at all because they couldn't afford to travel to see me 9 hours from where they were in north of France. And when they came to pick me up, I didn't recognize them, and I wanted to stay with the nurse because I thought the nurse was my mom or the nurses. And when we got back to France and they started this new life and I had to be put on medication, specifically injections, 3 times a week, and so they had to stay in France. So my father got a job and they started their lives, and of course, hence the 13 kids. My father, we didn't see my father most of the day, so he would leave at 5 a.m. or even before that, because his shift was 5 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon. So he would walk 2 hours to work and come back, and then exhausted, fall asleep for 2 hours, and then he has his friends come over, and my father was a storyteller. And
they loved him. Huh?
Yeah, everybody. I would listen to his stories, even though I didn't understand when I first started to listen. But his stories really helped me. But anyway, but my mom is the one that still today I'm asking myself every single day, how did she do it? And so that's what I'm trying to say to you. You are, and my mom, and all the mothers out there, are incredible people. But the one thing I think my mom discovered is that she was unique. She had self-worth. She was driven, and that particular thing that we're talking about, I still don't know what it is. That power within, only mothers have. I don't think anyone knows what it is unless you're a mother.
And you're right. It's inside of you. I don't know. I can't just put it into words because it's a feeling. I would love to grab the moms that don't feel it all the time and say, "Come on, let me help you find that feeling inside of you."
If you knew, you would sell it and become a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Elena, for being on the show. Very inspiring story, and I wish you the best, and your kids and everyone around you must be very, proud of having you around.
I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Everything happens for a reason. So you just have a great story, and you've done a lot, and you've been at the bottom, and you've picked yourself up, which is just amazing to me. So,
and to our incredible audience, thank you for being here with us. And if today's moved you, then please share with your friends, subscribe, just spread the word. And somewhere out there, someone who needs these kinds of shows. So thank you for watching. Listen.